Showtime. Welcome back to the All-Purpose Pod for an all-purpose life, wherever you are and however you're here. And they call me Mr. U, the podcast. Thank you again for joining us this morning. We appreciate you so much. We're your weekly mirror check before you change the world, baby. Good morning, Herb, Raj, Bo, in the house this morning. How you guys feeling?
Good, my man. How about you?
Good. You got your Joe?
You know it.
Ready to go? Oh, there you go.
Cheers.
That's a big cup today, man. Y'all ain't playing. They got my cup. I got my cup small compared to y'all.
I'm going to drink this much anyway. This just keeps me from having to go back to the coffee pot.
There you go. See, amateurs do two different cups.
Hey, there you go.
I haven't moved on to the professional level yet.
Well, come on, man. Step your game up, brother. This is showtime.
Mostly my normal cups are sitting in the dishwasher, and I was like, I didn't run it.
Don't you hate that moment when you realize I've got nothing clean?
Exactly. My travel mug was ready to rock. So,
yes.
All right, little peek behind the curtain there, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I like it. Are you guys excited about this solar eclipse deal? I'm gonna be honest with you. It's running nonstop on the Weather Channel, but I ain't buying no glasses, and I'm not doing nothing different on my Monday night. I'm gonna probably be watching UConn and I don't remember what they even played. UConn and Purdue. I'm not looking at the eclipse. How about you guys? You guys into this thing or what?
Well, I mean, the eclipse is going to be before the game anyway. But for me in Seattle, the path doesn't really hit us. So, the path is from Texas through New York. It's taking an angle through the U.S. So here in Seattle, we're going to see, a partial at best. And so, nothing too cool. When it is close, that's when I grab my camera gear and I'll drive to where it is. But being
I keep forgetting who I'm talking to. I asked that question, then I realized who I was talking to. Like, if he can see this, he can go drive there. Like, you're a sunset chaser. We know that about you already. You're a rainbow chaser as well.
Let me show you why.
Don't go chase waterfalls. Or is that no?
That's what he's going. He's going to chase waterfalls right now. Where is he going? This is like a live show. Where you going? What are you about to show me?
I do a fair amount of photography.
Okay. So there's nothing humble braggers about any of that you just did. Okay.
No. But what I'm saying is I take a lot of pictures of things that I think are cool.
Okay. Can you do that with the eclipse though? Can you get a good picture of the eclipse?
Yeah, you can. Depends on the lenses that you have.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you throw, if you have a good lens, and you may have to throw a filter on it so that not like an Instagram filter, but an actual screw-on filter for the lens.
I got you. Yeah, I'm not doing any of that. Herb, how about you?
Yeah, I don't care. I'm sorry to be into that category.
Oh, okay.
I know it's a big deal for a lot. So I just choose to not I won't be broadcasting, hey, I don't care. Because I kind of don't like people do that, but I just won't be saying anything. Only because I was asked a direct question. And I didn't want to lie.
Okay, because you're not by yourself. I got
you
your
hadn't
back.
brought it up on the show.
Either.
Yeah.
I'm
looking at our breakdown. Our breakdown doesn't say eclipse. I was unprepared for a lie.
Nah, I mean it has to come to me though. Like I'm not flying around the country to make it happen. But
can you see the eclipse path going like this, and then all of a sudden going up to Bo?
Hey, wouldn't even be mad at it. Except the problem is here in the Northwest, it's always cloudy, so we miss them anyway.
Yeah, I'm not into it, but it's cool. Good morning, Chad. Thanks for joining us, brother. Good to see you again.
Yes, sir.
Real faithful, man. Glad you're in the house, brother. All right, Major League Baseball started March 28th. We hadn't gotten around to it till about now, but man, a lot to talk about. We probably won't hit it all today, but the season's going. It feels like the season. Well, first off, I know that we've been already 3 series in already, And it feels like all of the teams that were dead last year are rocking and rolling this year. I mean, that makes sense if you have the money. You know, you got to spend and make some additions and whatnot. Excluding the Athletics, most of the last place teams have done that. But we got some things that are kind of a little weird that we're hearing a lot about. The Athletics also moving to Las Vegas, we thought.
Maybe, yeah.
Stopping through Sacramento first. Before you get to Las Vegas. What a cluster this is. I don't know if you guys are aware of the story, but this is just a hot mess. They making big plans to move out of Oakland. Don't even have the stadium situation locked down yet. It might take a couple of years. So they're going to hang out in Sacramento rather than where they are. They're going to hang out in Sacramento for who knows how long until the Las Vegas deal is complete and the stadium is built. The fans in Oakland are probably losing their minds right now. What are your thoughts on this, guys, real quick?
I think it's crazy the way it's all going down. Like, if you're going to move out of your house and build a new house, like, do you really want to go to a rental for 2 years? That doesn't even make sense. How do you build any kind of following, any kind of momentum for the next 3 years going to Vegas? That doesn't make sense. And you decide to alienate your fans who've done nothing wrong, on the way out. So, and maybe my view of Oakland's always been, I guess, that they're not a money spending franchise. I guess that's like where Moneyball and kind of stuff like that came from. So, and that's more of an outside view. So, obviously if I'm wrong, I'm just wrong. But it just seems like the wrong way to go about all of this for a franchise like that. So, I mean, is the move going to be worth it in 3 years after just alienating everybody for the whole time? So I don't know.
I mean, on the plus side, that just means attendance can only go up, right? I mean, they only had like 13,000 people show up to the game. So, I mean, at this point, it really doesn't matter if you go to a rental because the house that you own is haunted now. So, anywhere else is probably better. Yeah, so I don't think it matters. It is a weird path. But I mean, at the end of the day, the governor there even said that at one point they should stay in Oakland. So the governor of Las Vegas said that they should stay
nice.
in Oakland. So because there's been some issues as far as getting the thing built and, as far as permitting and getting approval and all of that. So and I wish I had the clip. I used to have it on here of her quote. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, they're trying to leave Oakland. Vegas doesn't seem completely sold on them. And, now they're going to have to make another stop. But they've done everything they could to make this the worst situation possible.
And even if they did, fall in line with your scenario and they actually stayed, I mean, what's actually going to really happen as long as the is what it is? I mean, their first night, 13,522 people. They came out. I don't know why. They expected something, I guess. Night two, listen to the precipitous drop. 3,837 people came on the second night after the first one.
No,
I don't know if they even won the first game, but the point is that it dropped that much. It dropped a lot.
Well,
and
opening day is always a bump to every team.
Of course. If they did stay, what's going to happen, though? Those numbers going to get better? Not with that same ownership. That's kind of where the people are having the problem. It's the ownership. It's not even – you can't blame the players. The players are where they are because of the decisions made by management. So it's like this is a hot mess. It's like I don't see a good ending for this. What scenario worse?
Yeah, I mean, if you stay, you're still not going to get great attendance because the fan base knows you didn't want to be there. You did everything you could to leave. And until that ownership changes, it's going to be the middle finger to that ownership group. Like, it's just like, no, I'm just not going.
There's always a chance that somebody can buy the Athletics out from one of these guys. I mean, making an agreement, of course, because that area has a lot of stars that have been known to invest in sports franchises. I would love to see new ownership there. Those fans deserve a lot better, man. I'll just kind of leave it right there. You guys got any closing thoughts on that one before we move on?
I don't know. A lot of A's fans might become Padre fans.
Oh God,
it's a short drive.
I'm hoping for new management. That's my plan. That's what I want.
Indication that they're trying to sell the team.
I know, man, but with the backlash and stuff, sometimes your plans have to change.
They don't actually need the fans in the stands the way baseball works. They need the good teams to be good because they pay the other teams. Like there's no incentive for one of these small market teams to blow a bunch of money and be super competitive. They get their money either way, whether people are in the stands or not, because they're getting the money from the TV contracts and the trickle down effect from the better teams. I mean, there's no true incentive unless you have an owner that wants to win.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't believe that
the Mariners have that same problem. We don't have ownership groups that are trying to spend money and win.
So you don't believe that the impact, I mean, from a Mariner standpoint too, you're going to add this into from your insights. So you don't believe that the fans continually don't show up for these games. It doesn't impact the TV deals. That's what you're saying?
No, because the TV deals aren't centered around the A's. Like if you had the Yankees or the Red Sox or, the premier teams in the league that everybody wants to see doing something, then the TV contracts start to have an issue. But when you have, low attendance at an A's game, nobody cares. Like that doesn't matter. The A's haven't been good since the early 90s. Right? When they had the, Jose Canseco and Mark McGwire.
The Bash brothers, yep.
Exactly. So, I mean, they haven't been good in 30 plus years. So, no, I mean, it makes no impact because it's not like the stadium numbers that we're talking about right now are out of the norm. Like you can look back over the last few years, there's plenty of nights that were 3,000. So, and if COVID taught us anything, they really don't need fans in the stands. Ain't nobody able to go. Baseball still happen.
That's really depressing.
Mm-hmm. He's right, though. It's been that way. Was it Florida or who was it that won their 2 World Series? And after every World Series, they tore the whole team down because they were like, we don't really need to continue these winning ways.
Florida did. I think they did something like that. They're not the only ones.
Twice in a row.
Good morning,
not
Mom.
In a row. Twice after winning them. So.
Oh, Mama's in the house. Good morning, Mom. So always so faithful. Thank you for joining us again. Appreciate you so much. All right. Well, let's move on because I was starting to feel feeling good about baseball, but that brought me down a little bit. All right. So Angel Hernandez. Oh my God.
This is gonna make you feel better.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I'm wondering if I should hold this off until next week.
I mean, unless just bagging on the guy is gonna make you feel better, because that might this guy.
We need to unleash on this clown. You know what? Let's keep moving. We'll talk about him next week. All
right.
Let's keep going.
All right. I'll try and put a video together for next week. Then we'll get some of his highlights.
Oh yeah, you do all the good stuff he's done. Oh, yeah, please do, sir.
The show isn't long enough for that, but we'll pick a couple.
Yeah.
Please, sir, man. May I have some more Angel Hernandez, please, sir? You gotta be kidding me. Let's do this week. It'll be fun. All right. So Iowa, UConn. We talked a little bit on Twitter and via text while this game was going on.
Purdue and UConn, but that's cool.
I'm talking about the ladies.
Iowa, South Carolina, then.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. No. The Iowa UConn game with ladies before you.
Oh, from 2 days ago.
I was going to say the championship game was last night.
Yeah,
I know, but we didn't talk about it last week. I want to ask you about the call, the foul call.
It was a foul.
That's you guys' opinion. It was a foul. You two heard? You feel the same way?
I just didn't like the call. It's like if you slow it down and go into it, you like the call. But I'm gonna get to your other point. I don't think like the game was rigged or like there was some agenda against it. I don't like that call at the end of the game, but I'm also not gonna say that call is what decided the whole game. You still gotta remember they're down 1 with the ball. So, you still got to have a lot happen just to do that. And, Iowa's a great team. I think for the end result, I definitely would have rather seen Iowa, South Carolina. And I think that's the end result that women's basketball deserved for the end of the year. So, it was like momentary outrage. And then like 2 minutes later, I was like, it is what it is.
There's two things on that. One, first off, Twitter was saying that they was rigged. I'm not saying it. But the second thing is that UConn had a string of, I don't know how many shots it was, but I probably counted about maybe 7 or 8 wide open looks that they had. Not very well defensed, to be honest. And they missed wide open looks. Yeah. So you're playing against the number 1 team. You get what you pay for with that one. So that foul, you call it what you want to, whether you call it a foul or not. I mean, you can't miss that many shots in those late minutes and expect to.
That's the thing, is they could have played better at any point in this game, especially when they had a lead, right?
Yeah. That's going to be my point.
And so, I mean, if you can't protect that lead, this game didn't come down to that shot. No. So what I'm sharing with you right there is actually that play. So if you watch, that is a moving screen. She steps out to her left, elbow out, knee out. That is a flat, or I mean a whistle every time. Like that's as the other angle didn't make it look so bad, but when you look straight on, you're like, oh yeah, that's a foul every time.
I'm with you on that one. I think
there's still also like a lot of time left when that happens. So it's like, and to Bo's earlier point, sorry, I had to do. UConn had control of this game in the first half. Absolutely. And then they let it slip right before the end of the first half. They let Iowa close, and then Iowa played a better third quarter. And that's kind of where the game got away from them. But you're also talking about the number 1 seed versus number 3 seed. Iowa's supposed to be the better team. So people saying rigged. Rigged is more as if the 3 seed beats the 1 seed, or if you got some other stuff going on. But if you're really going to say rigged and they were going to wait until 9 seconds left and one play to help them win, like, that's not rigged. That's the word. Like, if that's how you're rigging games for me, like, I don't want it. I need like the top 3 people on UConn fouling out in the third quarter. You know, I need technical fouls on the coach. Like, I need more than that. If you're going to say rigged, no one waits till 9 seconds left in the game to, you know, because what's the ref thinking? I got to find something here to call. Like, come on.
Yeah, I think there's 2 different trains of thought on this one. From what I'm hearing, like you said, the rig conversation, that's kind of pretty much rampant, at least all over my Twitter timeline at the very least. The second thought is what I'm hearing from Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, and some others, even LeBron James, about the inability is not the right word, but I guess not letting the referees kind of ignore that play during in that moment because of the intensity of the moment and it being a potential.
So there's always the theory, especially with people that have played, is let the players make plays, right? That's what they always want. They don't want a ref determining the end of the game. That being said, if it's a blatant foul, like if it's very obvious, right? Because the angle I just showed you is the angle that one of the refs had. Like that, the original camera angle, you're like, that seemed kind of weak, which is whatever, like most people saw initially. And you're like, that's kind of weak. You probably don't call that call in this scenario, right? Closing seconds, need a shot to tie it up or win. You don't really want to see a ref dictate the outcome of the game. But as soon as you look at that other camera angle, you're like, oh yeah, no, that's a straight up moving screen. Like that was a definition of a moving screen. So that should get a whistle. So that's not really the ref determining a game. Like it was a foul that was obvious enough that it should have been called. So, I mean, I don't really hate on it. And I generally am on the side of let the players make plays. Like in a football game, I don't care if they're hand fighting going down the field. That's football to me, right? Don't call pass interference on that. Things like that. But in this case, and the thing that was even, kind of more hilarious about it is she did that moving screen and she didn't even get the person open she was trying to get open. So I don't know if they would have got the shot off anyway.
on top of that, I mean,
because I think they just switched out really quick because her defender did go flying, but
at least in this case we can say that the referee was consistent because I forgot how many minutes it was, or maybe a minute or so after this play, there was another one for the opposite team for Iowa, and they got called for. So
this was the last one.
Yeah,
this was the last one of the game.
This was the last one.
That was the last one. It was one where they were Iowa fans. They were going crazy. I thought it was I thought it was afterwards.
No,
because after this they get fouled and they shoot free throws and that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully I have some sound for the Bird and Taurasi show that I was telling you about. Let's see if I can try to grab that for you guys. Let me know if you can hear it.
I believe I said it in different rules. That's a terrible call. And, we always talk about let the players decide the game, especially a benign call like that, where you really didn't even affect the player. I mean, they still got over the screen. It's just tough to end a game like that. I mean, Sue and I, we played enough games where you want players to decide it, and we didn't get that tonight, which was disappointing. But beyond that, that was two really, really good teams and two well-coached teams that knew what they wanted to do for 40 minutes. And sometimes it comes down to players making great plays, and Caitlin just never shies away from that, and it's really impressive.
Yeah, I want to lead into that because I want to ask you guys a question about Caitlin Clark. We've been hearing a little bit about, her impact on the game. What's your thoughts on her impact on the sport of basketball itself? Just general thoughts, and then we move on to our next topic. What are you guys thinking about her?
I think she's been huge for the sport. And I think she's come along at the right time where like NIL has put you in commercials too, and the internet and everything. So it's kind of the combination of right time and great player. I think she's been great for the sport. There's been a lot more visibility in the sport. And that's why I said like having her in the national title game was kind of something that needed to happen, because she probably is your best star. So I think she's brought a lot more eyeballs to it. So, but the women's tournament had a lot of star power, and I think people kind of noticed the other, like the Jujus and the Paige Buchers of the world as well. So I think the impact was great. I watched more of the women's Final Four than I think I ever have. So
easily. And some of that is impacted by the fact that you don't have the one and done element on the women's side. So you actually get to follow people the way you used to do with UFC, right? Yeah. When the UFC started, they didn't have crazy amounts of stars. So you really kind of followed the path of the guys that were fighting. And that's more or less what we have with women's basketball now is you get to follow the story, right? Because these ladies are staying in school the entire time. When it comes to the men's, your best players are one and done. You don't have a story to follow at all. So that's why you were seeing the ratings were actually higher for the women's Final Four is because you had storylines to follow. You had Caitlin Clark, breaking records. You had Angel Reese that, is the self-proclaimed villain, right? You got Cardoso, which is just an absolute beast. She's
incredible.
7 or something, right? So, I mean,
7 from Brazil. She was killing it.
Right? So there was a ton of star power around really the Elite Eight. And so it made it a lot more fun to watch than the men's so far.
Agreed.
Now, am I going to watch the championship game tonight? Of course. But
more because it's the championship game than
because you're not following anybody.
No. And to your point, Raj and I talked about this, I think last week or the week before. Oh, I'm sorry. At work, we were talking about this. The women market stars and the men's market the teams. So, you're following UConn through there. But it's until I really watched UConn up there, I couldn't name 2 or 3 of their players. But I could name the best players coming through on the women's game. And I'm actually
that's exactly because of one and done. Right? You're not going to market a player who's not going to be there in 6 months.
Right.
I mean, why would you waste the bandwidth on that? So, that's exactly the thing is you're building storylines, and honestly, it's going to help the WNBA's ratings because now you followed these ladies, and now you're going to see them move on to the next level. So now you might finally see some traction out of the WNBA that we hadn't necessarily seen before, and not because people didn't want to watch it, but you might see the media machine finally start to hype it up. Because that's really the biggest fault when it comes to the WNBA. We have a team here. We don't hear about it until halfway through the season.
Right. Well, the WNBA's got a whole lot of other faults. I don't know if we want to go into that. But when the season starts, nobody ever knows when it is and what's going on. So that's a huge problem.
And that's why I say the media machine is really at fault there. Because it's not
another story.
It's not like they were
another day.
Bad teams. Seattle's won 4 championships. Yeah. And we still don't always know when those seasons start.
And I think the draft's next week.
Probably. Yeah. I believe you.
That draft? Oh, okay. I don't know. All right. Well, congratulations to the South Carolina Gamecocks. Yep. You should call them the Lady Gamecocks. They got rid of that. I didn't even know it even happened. It happened so subtly. But the South Carolina Gamecocks, they had a perfect season and won the national championship. Like we talked about Cardoso, 6'7" from Brazil, Monster in the middle. Fantastic play out of them. Chloe Kitts, fantastic play. See, I know their names. But I can't do that on the men's side except Edie from Purdue.
Yeah, because he's been there for.
I'm hard my bracket at this point. my bracket for the final two guys teams is still in place. So that's all. I'm in it for that. That's pretty much it. But congratulations to them. The whole town, the whole city is pretty much going crazy out here. They love their Gamecocks, and they got a whole bunch of new bandwagon riders on there they've never seen before. So congrats to all of y'all. Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
Well, I mean, they do have a lot of fans. I mean, they have won 3 championships now and been, in the Final Four, the last 3 years in a row. So, I mean,
I know the bandwagon when I see them.
And 2 out of the last 3. So, yeah.
Exactly.
I know the bandwagon when I see them. They ain't hiding. I know who they are. All right. So let's jump into the conversation we had. We had a couple of conversations you guys brought up a couple of weeks ago. We never had a chance to get to it. We had so much fun with our other topics. We kind of forgot to get back to it. But you guys were talking about Harbaugh's endorsement of J.J. McCarthy, which is going to be perhaps pivotal. Pivotal. I'm tired, y'all. Forgive me. Pivotal going into the NFL draft. It's going to start on the 25th, I believe. About 17 days from now. And then we had a conversation about Deion Sanders pulling the Eli. So we'll go ahead and start with the Harbaugh one first. In this case, Harbaugh's not in line to draft a quarterback. He got Justin Herbert already, so he's already set in that regard, but he couldn't stop raving about his former quarterback. In his words, at the annual meeting a couple of Mondays ago, or last Monday, he said he's the best quarterback in this draft. Wow. He plays quarterback the best of all the quarterbacks. He's a winner. That was the best workout I've ever seen a quarterback during a pro day. The best throwing day I've ever seen. Okay. So there's a part of that. It's like, okay, that's your boy. He made it to a national championship, undefeated season, same way as the Gamecocks. I get the pouring on of praise. I get that part. His stats were, I think this was last year's. Was it? Couldn't have been. Had been the entire time. 213 and 287, 2,630 yards, 19 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. It had to be the entire season. 3 touchdowns on by foot, rushing, 146 rushing yards. So basically, over the Michigan's final 5 games, McCarthy threw 1 touchdown pass. Pretty modest numbers, even against Iowa. 147 yards passing. They did everything on the ground for the most part. I mean, he filled his role well. As far as being one of the best, if not the best team in the league. Threw 1 interception all year long. Ranked in the top 10 among FBS quarterbacks. 6th in passer ratings and 2nd in completion percentage. So he did what he had to do in that regard. But even I'm not sure I can say he's the best quarterback in the draft. I don't think I could, and I'm a fan. I'm a diehard Michigan fan. I don't roll anywhere else. I don't think I could even say that much. But what do you guys thought about McCarthy and where he is projected to be in the draft? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, he's definitely not the best one, but not necessarily because he can't be, because he just wasn't asked to do that much, right? Like, that's not what their offense was about. But of course, when it comes to Harbaugh, he's hyping up his guy, right? Because he's not in the market for a quarterback anyway. He's got one. No, he's not. So at the end of the day, he's hyping up his guy, seeing if he can build some, draft position for his quarterback. But at the end of the day, what we watched is they didn't use him where he was the focal point, right? So we don't really know if he could be the best guy in the draft. He very well could have been, but we didn't see it. And so that doesn't garner a number 1 pick to me, right? Number 1 overall type of thing. Like, at best, he's going to be a 4th pick off the board at quarterback.
Herb.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the combination of quarterback needy teams and people, trying to get positioning, they're going to take a chance on them before maybe like Knicks and Penix. But no, I mean, he's hyping his guy. I mean, I would expect that from the coach. So
we don't even believe you believe you.
Yeah. I would only believe it if he had the number 1 pick and he took JJ. Otherwise, like, we're just talking. Yeah,
no, that would be one thing, right? Yeah. Like, if he had the number 1 overall pick and he went after him, okay, let's see what you got. You saw something that we didn't because you coached him all year.
Yeah.
Then I could believe that. But this seems like a smoke show more than anything else.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine. We can go ahead and roll with that. I'm not going to change anything that I said. I'm not sure he's the best quarterback in the entire draft. But
I mean, we said the same thing.
Say that again. I missed that.
We said the same thing. We don't think he's the best guy in the draft.
Yeah, I don't think he has to be. But I watched his entire college career. I didn't see any high school, just college. I watched his entire college career. I've seen him make throws that they're not always happening with some of the other quarterbacks. I've seen him do things with his legs. I like the quarterback that he is. I felt like there were some times where in certain games, a couple specifically, I wish that he did throw the ball more, but that's not what they needed. They were preparing against the run, and Corm and it was running it down people's throats, and it was like it was working. Nobody was stopping it. Keep doing what you're doing. So I don't know where he is in the draft. I think hopefully next week we can do our top 10 mock. We've been talking about it for several weeks now. Hopefully we can get that done next week. But I don't know where he's gonna fall in you guys' mock draft. I guess you got time to think about it now. Got at least a week, but he's not number one overall. I don't see that. But I feel like even if we didn't have quarterback needy teams the way we do now in the formation that they're in, I feel like he's still in the top 15. Still not in the second round where we see him mocked prior to the a little earlier in the preseason or the off season. Excuse me. So
yeah, I think he'll be the fourth off the board, which will still be a first round pick.
I think he's definitely a first round pick. I think he's going to be definitely higher than the 15. But I think he's going to be in that realm, even if it wasn't for the quarterback needy team, because we have that, like Herb stated. You're going to be taking a lot quicker off of the board at 2 with the Commanders. I don't know. That's going to be interesting, but it does present possibilities for us because we need a quarterback as well. So if the Commanders do decide to make that move, I ain't gonna be mad at them. Go right ahead because that drops guys that I think we actually like into our laps potentially. So that's a good thing. I don't think we're moving back like people are saying. I think we're gonna stay there and take a quarterback if he's available. If all the quarterbacks are gone that we want, different scenario. We may either take a wide receiver or kind of move on from there.
Where do you guys pick? You guys are
6 right now.
6? Yeah. I mean, they're not going to all be gone because there's 6 quarterbacks coming in that are viable quarterbacks.
Yeah, and I think you need a trade at 4 and 5 to get even to get you to a point where you'd be taking the 6th best.
Yeah, because I mean, there's no way you're getting all 6 off the board 1 through 6. Like someone's taking Marvin Harrison.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Somebody would have to trade with the Cardinals and trade with the Chargers for you to get 5 in a row quarterbacks. I would think.
Yeah. Well, just
unless New England does something goofy and doesn't pick a quarterback.
Raiders and the Vikings are potentially they're going to make a move to that spot because they need to have a quarterback too.
No, so but what my point is there's 6 good quarterbacks coming into this. Like there's more quarterbacks obviously, but there's 6 that are potential first rounds. You're sitting at 6. I mean, you get one of them no matter how people trade. Okay, I'm not attacking. I'm just going to make a quick point. Bo Nix. Let me say the point for you before you tell me what's going to happen. Hold on. So Bo Nix, he wasn't one of the guys in our conversation. A lot of the times we didn't talk about him. We talked about Drake May. We talked about JJ. We talked about Jaden Daniels. We talked about Caleb. Bo Nix is. Let's be honest. He wasn't near the top of that list. So he's one of those 6 quarterbacks you're talking about, I'm assuming. Yeah. He's not one of the guys that we've been talking about.
When you had me label 6 quarterbacks, I always put Bo Nix at 6. And Raj even said that he thought Bo Nix was going to be the best of the bunch. So we've talked about him.
I'm trying to find out, was he serious? I still don't even know. Did he mean that?
Afterwards, he said he's serious. I said, I'm going to hold him to it. So
yeah, no, I mean, Bo Nix has talent. Like there's a reason Oregon was good. Like he had to go and make throws. Now, he doesn't throw as good of a ball as like a Penix.
Right.
But he's more mobile, right? So he has an element of his game that maybe he doesn't. I'm not sold on Caleb because he's found ways to come up short when it matters, right? Like when he played good teams, he didn't play his best ball, right? So, I mean, you know, Drake May is a stat monster, but we'll see what happens when he lands somewhere, you know, that doesn't have a good offensive line. So, I mean, you know, first round quarterbacks are a crapshoot.
Yeah.
Understood. You freeze up on us? I'll jump in. All right, so yeah, that's okay. Catch you when you come back, Bo. But as it pertains to Penix and Knicks, I got feelings about both of them.
The amount of teams that
hold on, wow, what happened?
But yeah, who knows? But yeah, so I mean, at the end of the day, there's enough quarterback needy teams that potentially all 6 of them end up in the first round.
Right.
I don't doubt that. Matter of fact, I'm almost positive that's going to happen. For me though, I'm not over the Giants wallet. This is just me talking. The Penix and Knicks, that's not where I want to go unless I really, really have to. I'm not doing Spencer Rattler and no nonsense like that. So
no, you already have those guys on the roster.
So
like, as soon as you get to Rattler and stuff, I mean, you have Drew Lock, you have Jones. Like, I mean, you're not exactly that wouldn't be an upgrade, but
I understand that.
You go Knicks through the top, it potentially is.
I don't want Penix and Knicks if we don't have to do that for a couple of reasons that we talked about on the show. Injuries on the Penix side and some other stuff that I'm kind of concerned about, and Knicks from some other things I'm concerned about there. So I don't really want to do that. So for me, the Giants could be thinking differently, but for me, it comes down to 4 quarterbacks. And I know Caleb's not happening unless he has a precipitous fall from number 1. I don't see it happening. So it comes down to us having access to potentially 3 quarterbacks. It's not 6 for me. It's just 3. And if we don't have this, like, okay, so what do we do now? Are we going to go into the day 2 without a quarterback? Are we going to reach? Are we going to trade for somebody? I'm saying it's a different situation for me, but that's just coming from a Giant standpoint. But any other thoughts about the quarterbacks in the draft and the first few quarterback picks? Williams, Daniels, May, McCarthy. Anything else on that one?
So you wouldn't want McCarthy?
Yeah, he's one of the 3.
Yeah, he's saying Caleb Williams is out, so he's focused on the other 3.
Oh, okay.
As the 3 he'd want.
Yeah, I don't see how Williams gets I don't think that we even have a chance of that. I'm not quite sure. I totally
don't think you
want
have
that.
a chance at the top 3 unless you move.
I don't want to do that either. So
yeah.
So
I mean,
McCarthy would be your best shot.
Yeah.
Because the other 3 are going to be gone.
I don't know what's our best shot, man. Like I said, the Raiders and the Vikings, they need a quarterback bad. They're not sitting here like, okay, we're gonna wait until Mr. Rattler comes out in the second round. That's not what's happening.
I'm saying
they're gonna make a move because they got the capital to do it, and I think they're gonna do so. They're gonna try to make a move up, especially if they have 5 with charges. They're gonna do something. So
he's saying with no trades, McCarthy is your best shot.
Yeah,
with no trades, that's your best case scenario.
I'll take that. If that's it, I'll take that. I'll take him over Penix.
Of course you will.
Without question. Rattler's now on the table. I'm so sorry. Excuse me. All right. So Dion.
Rattler catching strays over. He's like, I wouldn't even.
No.
We apologize to the Rattler family and to anybody who may have been harmed.
He played here, so I got a chance to watch this. I watched him play it. I watched it.
So I agree with Travis here. I do think that Penix will probably. I don't know necessarily if it'll be late, but it'll definitely be like mid to late first round is probably where Penix goes.
Yeah,
and then when
it comes to Knicks, it'll either be the end of the first, early second would be my thought, because there are enough teams that don't necessarily need a quarterback, but they do need some of these offensive linemen that are coming through.
Ain't no way in the world. I told you this. I'm staying on this. I'm staying on this hill right here. There's no way in the world Knicks is going that late. Denver, Minnesota, and Oakland just by themselves ain't letting that man pass to no second round. It's not happening. See they have on their roster. They need a quarterback as bad as we do.
Yeah, I mean,
worse.
The Vikings made an indication that they were looking at next year for a quarterback. They were going to rock with Darnold.
I don't believe it. Do you? You believe
it? Depends on if they need offensive linemen, and there's a lot of them that are first round talent.
Oh my God, that would be a nightmare. But let's keep moving. We got to watch our time.
I mean, not really. Think of the division they're in. The Lions are good, right? Green Bay's coming on. The Bears are the Bears, but I mean, if the Vikings want to contend, they're going to need to protect whatever quarterback they have. So, I mean,
they got to keep Jefferson happy for the time that he's going to be there too.
I can see them getting a tackle to help protect.
Darnold to Jefferson? No, sir.
I mean, it was Jefferson from 4 different guys this last year.
And look what that's done. The man is unhappy. If you want to keep him, you got to take care of him some kind of way. You do that with a quarterback that can get him the ball as much as he wants.
Yeah, I don't know. Like with them, because they're probably not keeping Jefferson right after this season. You may very well get a quarterback next year, build your line this year, and start your rebuild. Because at the end of the day, you already have the Lions that own the division. You got Green Bay coming on. The Bears have potential, right? Like their roster, if they could figure their coaching out, could actually win games. So, I mean, it's not like it's a cakewalk to get through the North there. So, I mean, it might make sense to wait a year on a quarterback for them.
Herb, any closing thoughts on this?
No, I see where he's coming from. You know, you're trying to say, is Nick's going to elevate us enough to keep Jefferson? So if you're grabbing a guy like that. So I thought before coming to the year that he was a more of a second round talent, but I do agree. Somebody's going to get desperate and take him before the end of the first round. And, you know, we believe Raj, he's going to be the best of the bunch anyway. So
without question,
he'll probably land in the best situation.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's going to be a more complete team rather than an absolute dumpster fire walking in.
I can't wait for the draft. Let's see what happens. All right, so this Dion thing. I'm going to let y'all run with this for the most part. Because the whole pull of Eli thing, I don't know. It just hit me kind of weird. I knew what he was trying to say, but it was like, I felt like this is not, it felt different to me than what's, he's describing. But for those who are not aware, he went on a podcast called $1 Million Worth of Game, and he talked about his thoughts on where he wanted to see two of his stars, his son Shador, which is the quarterback of the team, and Travis Hunter, which is a wide receiver / D-back, where he wants them to land in the 2025 NFL draft. They both expected to be early first round picks, but I guess in Dion's mind, certain teams are off limits. He said, I know where I want them to go, so with certain cities that ain't going to happen, it's going to be an Eli. And what he mentioned was the 5 teams that he actually played for himself as a player: Atlanta, Washington, Dallas, Baltimore, and San Fran. When he says it's going to be an Eli, he's referring to the time in the 2004 draft where Eli was the projected first round pick to go to the Chargers in San Diego when they were there. And him and his dad, I guess, kind of vetoed the idea. And there's some reason behind that. It's not just a young kid trying to push his weight around. There was a reason why he didn't want to go to San Diego. So they vetoed that, and I think San Diego went ahead and drafted I know that, and it ended up with Rivers. I forgot how it went down though, but they drafted. I'm blanking. I am tired. Oh my God. Okay. All right.
Flying season in full effect.
So either way, Eli didn't go to San Diego. They got Rivers instead, and Eli ended up going to the Giants. And of course, his pedigree on that and the way his season went in New York. So I don't know. There's some subjective nature to the whole scouting process. We get that part, but I guess these guys, now that they have some money in their pocket, they can, if they want to, they can decide to go ahead and sit out a full year and then re-enter the draft. They can have the potential to do that kind of stuff. I guess it's like, why you want to pick a fight when you don't have to? I guess it's some of the things that's been speculated about. But what are your thoughts on this whole Dion pulling the Eli thing? You think this is the future of college football, or is this something that probably shouldn't be happening? What are you guys thinking?
I mean, both of those things are true. Probably is the future, but it probably shouldn't be happening. I don't love it. It's a bad look, especially when your coach is the one that's telling you to do this, right? When he's like, "Oh, I don't want my kid to go to any cold weather spots because that's not where he's played." Now, remind me, when's the playoffs and the Super Bowl? Oh, it's in the winter. Like when it's cold, right? Yeah. You're going to have to travel places that are cold. So I don't know. I don't.
Baltimore's cold too.
What's that?
Baltimore's cold too. I think it's nice out there. It's cold.
Well, I mean, the thing is,
in Baltimore.
When it comes to college sports, their season's kind of done by the time he's done playing. But it's a bad look. I don't like it. You certainly don't want to come out and publicly say it, even if you are saying stuff like that behind closed doors, because now it looks like you're just trying to manipulate the league.
Yeah.
Right. And again, I don't love it. I get it a little bit because of, for his kid, he's trying to land his kid where he wants him to go. To do it for Hunter, that's not great.
Yeah. I'd rather hear from Hunter himself, by the way, on that one. Like
exactly.
You said, you talk for your kid all the time. But again, Hunter, we've talked about as like one of the top talents. Shedeur has another year to prove to us that he can, like, if he has a bad year, we won't even be talking about this. So you're putting this, how about concentrating on getting to a bowl game next year versus like where your kid might get drafted? And then you look at his list and it's just dumb. Atlanta, just got their quarterback, Baltimore, Washington, Dallas, San Francisco. So are you saying you want your kid to not start next year? So I don't know.
Based on what we saw from him, I wouldn't want him to start year one.
Right. But some of those, like San Francisco, you would think for a while, Baltimore for a while, Washington drafting a quarterback for a while. So like I don't even get this list either. It doesn't make none of this makes a great, thing. And then we're talking about Eli, who was going to be a number one pick versus Shedeur. We have no idea. Like you're jumping the gun way too much.
Well, that was one of the things in the same show, I believe, where he or it was a different press conference. I don't remember exactly offhand, but he said that Shedeur said that he wanted to be the number one quarterback off the board, and Dion went on to say he didn't think he would be in this draft, but he wouldn't be below number two, right?
In this draft.
I was like, man, you are out of your mind. We did not see good enough stuff out of Shedeur to make me think he was a top two pick.
Right.
Like, I don't think he's a first round pick.
Yeah.
The only reason you might take him in the first round is because of who his dad is.
Correct. Dion is talking like his team was in the national championship game with Shedeur versus y'all won 4 games. Like, I don't get all the bluster. I don't get all the talk. Like it just doesn't fit what just happened last season.
Yeah,
those
like
teams,
you played
Dion's old team. That's all this is. That's it. That's all it is. There's no other significance. There's nothing else. There's no other ties to this. These are all Dion's old teams. That's it.
What this really reminds me of more than anything else is LeVar Ball.
Yeah. Who also got into the news again this past week.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. But I mean, that LeVar Ball situation for his first kid coming out, that's exactly how this feels.
Mm-hmm.
This Robert Griffin, I'm going to go ahead and read. I don't have a sound for it this time, but I'm going to read his quote. I think this is the part that kind of sticks with me. I'm like, what are we getting ready to encounter? This is what Robert Griffin said in regards to Sanders' comments about Shedeur and Travis Hunter. He said the power shift is coming, so everyone needs to buckle up. Without the players, all of these sports leagues are nothing. This is the player empowerment age, and you're seeing it coming to the NFL.
Okay, what a lot of these guys need to realize is it's short-lived in the NFL. It's not like other sports. So if you've only got 7-8 good years in the NFL and you're willing to sit out one, like that's just going to hurt you more than it's going to hurt the sports. The owners will find a way, and people will object at first, and then we'll just go watch whatever you put out there, as long as it has, like the Green Bay name on it, the Dallas Cowboys name on it. Somebody's going to end up watching. So unless they think that they're going to band together, like the whole first round would have to sit out. And guess what? You're not getting everybody on board with that.
Not a chance. Too much money.
I know that these examples are not, in hindsight, it makes sense now, but John Elway had a situation similar to this. He didn't want to go to Baltimore. He didn't want to go to the Colts. Sure. He threatened to go to the Yankees in Major League Baseball instead. They got that thing figured out. He went to Denver, had a Hall of Fame career out there. Bo Jackson in '86, he didn't want to go to the Bucks, I think it was. He decided to he said, I'm going to go to the Royals in Kansas City and play baseball. I think he came back into the draft. The Raiders got him 7th. Probably one of the greatest in history, if not the greatest in that regard. Jim Kelly, same situation. Refused to go to Buffalo, except that he actually did end up going. He went to the USFL for a little while, came back to Buffalo, and had also a Hall of Fame career there as well. So, I don't know. In hindsight, we know their careers are because they finished it. So we can tell,
Sure,
it was a good investment. But with Shedeur and it's like, I don't. It just feels different to me right now. Maybe just me. I'm like,
well,
I mean, I don't.
Yeah. Well, the difference is those guys are like, I don't want to go to this one place, and Deion's like, I don't want you to go to these 25 places. Like, here's the short list. That doesn't make sense to me. Like if you had one bad experience and I don't know, Dallas, and was like, I just don't want my kid going to Dallas. I'm like, okay, I at least get that. Maybe that's one particular. But saying I don't want you to go to 90% of the league and we're just going to leave these 5 teams.
I don't want you to go anywhere where it ever gets cold.
Yes. I mean, like you said, who wants to draft a guy who's going to sit out every game in January and February? Because, and then you've also created a narrative for your son. Let's say he does go to Dallas and Dak is gone and he plays, right? And they fail every playoff game in the cold weather. You just put the bullseye on his back and everyone's going to talk about it. And you're just, I mean, I'm the type of like, hey, Dad, can we calm down? Just like talk about the team, talk about all this other stuff. Right. Can you leave my future out of this? Because all you're doing is making it worse for me. Because now Shedeur is a flop. Like he has just made it 10 times worse.
That's the thing is he better come out and absolutely ball out. Yeah. Because if you push yourself off a team and you're bad, oh man, you will get absolutely barbecued in the media.
Yeah.
Oh God. Well, let's keep the train moving. We only have about 9 minutes left. We put out 3 polls for you guys' consideration. The first poll was who's the most polarizing head coach in sports. Then we did the same thing for the most polarizing team in sports, and then the most polarizing individual player. Let's start with.
Let me answer Travis real quick.
Right.
All right. So his question is it possible Deion is trying to protect his son? Of course he is. Basically, he's said he's never played in cold weather. So that's exactly what he's trying to protect him from. And I get it to a degree. The problem is you're going to have to travel. You're not going to get home games through the playoffs every time you get there. So you're going to have to be able to play a road game in New York, in Baltimore, New England. Like it's cold. Like you're going to have to learn how to play when it's cold. Like you're going to, Chicago, right? It's cold.
Okay. I wonder, Travis, are you referring to something else, brother, that you haven't shared? It's just about cold weather. This is something else because I'm not totally catching that.
I mean, there's no way his kid was like, I hate all the teams in the league.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
well, nobody could, with a mind in their head could possibly think something like that. It's just ridiculous. But okay.
I think some of these kids forget it's a privilege to get to the pro leagues, and taking that for granted is going to bite you in the butt.
You're sitting there watching YouTubes all day.
Yeah.
Think it's about highlights and talent, flash of the talent. It's not the real world. They're going to find it out the hard way, particularly in this case. All right. So our poll for who's the most polarizing head coach? Well, we just got finished talking about him. Deion, Jim Harbaugh, Kim Mulkey, and Bill Belichick. And Sanders had a 33% vote and won that as the most polarizing head coach. I think this is the kind of stuff that we get these kind of votes for. These kind of comments, even during the season last year, there was a lot of things that he did and said. I'm like, wow, this is not helpful to the development. Go ahead, what you say, Bo?
Deion is he's the coach version of Jerry Jones. Like he cannot stay out from in front of the camera.
Right.
He seeks out the camera every possible time. And that's part of Deion's personality. Always was. Right. So it's not like it's a shock. But there's definitely times where it hurts his team more than anything else.
Yeah,
absolutely. When you're a coach, it should be a little bit different because it has to be because you're representing players and you're being an example, a role model to these players. So
when you're a player, you can do all that kind of stuff because it more affects you, at least in certain positions. But you shouldn't put your kids under that. So I think Deion out of that list was definitely the most polarized because he's the one that kind of spans all the sports. Like your average person's gonna have an opinion on Deion, where like the other ones, they might have a particular one like within that sport. They might say, oh, we don't like this guy. But Deion is like across the board.
Well, and he's out there slinging prime gear and sunglasses. And I mean, he's always got all these extra things that he's doing even during press conferences. So it's just like, okay, man, like we get it. You were the best. But, at some point, I want to hear you talk about your kids this upcoming season and how you're going to improve on what you had. Great, you got a contract for sunglasses, but at the end of the day, I don't really care. Like, I want to know if Colorado is going to take a step forward or not.
I heard from guys that don't even watch college football.
What's up, Title?
On Deion. They were on him hard. Don't even watch college football. I'm like, wow, that just transcends the sport, apparently.
Yeah.
Hey, Rick, thanks for joining us, sir.
Well, it transcends the sport because it gets picked up everywhere. Yep. Because he was such a dynamic player, and he was always a bunch of flash, right? Like even when he played, right, it was always all the chains, the sunglasses and everything. Then, right, like that was always how he was. And I'm not hating on that at all. Like, build your brand, it's cool. But as a coach, I also still want to learn about your team. Like at some point in this press conference about Colorado, I kind of want to hear about Colorado.
Yes, sir, absolutely. All right, next poll. Who's the most polarizing player in sports? Well, we had LeBron James, Cristiano Ronaldo, Draymond Green, and Dak Prescott. LeBron overwhelmingly.
Sure.
55% out of 47 votes. I was going to ask Raj what he thought about that. Good morning, sir. You came in right on time. Good morning to you, sir. Roll Tide indeed.
When the poll first came out, we texted and talked about it, and it was like LeBron easy because it kind of like with the Deion one. LeBron is the answer that spans all the sports versus like a Dak. He might be polarizing within NFL circles, but the average fan is not going to care about most of that. And most of the other people on the list. Say what?
It was the other three guys only got 15%. It was LeBron.
Yeah. All the way. Oh, LeBron would have won that going away, no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, last one. Who's the most polarizing team in sports? It's funny, but it's like duh. But we had the Lakers in there. We had Buffaloes, Colorado Buffaloes, same team we just talked about that Deion coaches. The New York Yankees and the Dallas Cowboys. 3% for the Lakers, nothing for the Buffaloes. Even though my Twitter timeline was blown up the entire season talking about Deion and the team.
That's the thing.
How you just phrased it.
It's polarizing. It has nothing to do with the team.
Yeah.
Okay. New York Yankees, 41%, and Cowboys won at 56%.
Yeah.
That's about how I thought it would shake out. Because when you're talking about polarizing, you're not talking about are they polarizing this year. You're talking about polarizing like across the board all the time. Yeah. Exactly. And Dallas definitely does that. The Lakers are more polarizing right now because LeBron's there. Like they are one of the great franchise in the NBA, but after LeBron leaves, like the talk about them is going to be a lot less.
Well, and after Kobe, they were bad for a long time.
You're right.
So it's not like
they were bad with Kobe for the end of his career until he got like Paul Gasol for a year and won a championship. So
exactly,
they've been.
I didn't see them as polarizing them more. I didn't see them as polarizing then, but it's only the time that LeBron's been there that I've been hearing so many things about them. Lakers this and Lakers that. And Roger's point, LeBron is by far the most polarizing. Him leaving Cleveland the first time altered everything.
Yeah, because Raj is not a Lakers fan; he's a LeBron fan, so he won't even be talking about them after he leaves. So that's why.
I had no idea about that. I got enlightened today. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought he was a fan of that.
And like Bo said, Colorado is not polarizing. Deion is, so we wouldn't even be talking about Colorado if Deion went there.
That's
we certainly wouldn't be talking about a 4-win team.
Yes.
Like that wouldn't happen.
The greatest 4-win team in the history of college football.
Yeah. I think they deserve to be in the conversation. If for nothing else, things that happen on the field, we can blame Deion and say, okay, this is your influence, but there are a lot of things, some dirty plays, some other stuff that happened during the season that we talked about on our shows that kind of put them also under maybe a disparaging spotlight. So it's not to the level of the Cowboys or Lakers. I'm not saying that at all, or the Yankees. I'm just saying it was
dirty plays will happen if you're running your mouth, right? Saying you're the best, you haven't proved anything yet. Other teams take exception to that. Like if you're running your mouth in their stadium, you can bet you get a little extra because you're giving them bulletin board material. Anytime you do that, even if they aren't the better team, they're coming to hit you.
Yeah. Colorado State was an example of that. And don't get me wrong, Deion has been great for Colorado because they were not getting this much exposure and this much press and this much move. Yeah. So he has been great for them. It's just some of the things are going to have to go.
Absolutely.
And that gets us there.
Oh God, we are there. Anyway, this was fun. So next week we're going to be going heavy NFL draft and Major League Baseball. I think I know. The Monday afterwards, I'm going to be on assignment, kind of kind of like what Bo's been doing for off and on for here and there. I'll be doing it. Just be my turn. So we can try to figure out another time for the show that week. Is that gonna be the same week as the draft? Or is that the week 14th? So the 22nd, I think.
Yeah, it's the week before.
No. Okay, no, it's the week after that. So the 29th. That's the week. That's the Monday that I'll be driving back. Okay. So
yeah, that's the Monday after the draft.
So we'll do some extensive post draft coverage. Maybe on the 30th. We'll try to figure it out. Guys. Good morning, West Coast. What's up, baby? Thanks for joining us, sir. Picks for title game tonight. Hey guys, real quick. Picks for the title game tonight. I'm sticking with my bracket. It's all about the bracket. I got UConn.
Yeah.
Third.
I'm taking Purdue. Just gonna like the underdog story and the redemption from last year. Yeah. UConn's a better team, so it's easy to pick Purdue because if I'm wrong, I'm like, oh well, everybody they were the favorite. So
look at you
I'm safe.
Yeah. Edie's a beast, so that's fair. How'd you both?
Yeah, but Klingon's a beast too. So it's UConn's the better team. Don't get me wrong. The line is where it should be.
Yeah, I know.
I think UConn's enough better that they get the win.
It's funny in our bracket challenge, we have two people. If UConn wins, they win the bracket challenge, and if Purdue wins, that person wins the bracket challenge.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. All right, man. Well, I think we're at that place, guys.
Yep.
Man, tell everybody where they can find you, find your shows.
Go ahead.
You're on YouTube, Herb and Raj Podcast. You can look us up there, or you see the Twitter handle right there where you can see all our stuff streaming.
Copy that. Oh.
And you can see me on my channel at Football-Talk here on YouTube. And of course, you can see me here in 2 hours on Coast to Coast on Roku.
And we'll be together again Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. EST on the Wednesday wrap-up. We talk about all the sports in quick snips. It's always a good time, man. And I'm on all the socials at They Call Me Mr. U. Thanks for joining us again. We love you guys. We appreciate you. Have a great day. Coach out.
Good.